My 8th wedding anniversary was supposed to be a night to remember. Instead, it became the night my entire life turned upside down. I was sitting at a quiet, romantic Italian restaurant, the same place my wife, Sarah, and I had our very first date. I was waiting for her, holding a little box with a new diamond necklace inside. Then, the restaurant door opened, and she walked in with another man. Not just a guy friend. He was tall, confident, and clearly trying to play it cool as they walked toward our table. She didn't look embarrassed, not even a little. She just smiled a little, that smug, knowing smile she had, and walked right up to me as if everything was perfectly normal. I just sat there, frozen, and waited for her to say something. "Mark, this is Derek," she said, her voice a little too casual. Derek took the seat next to her, looking uncomfortable but trying to act like he belonged there. She took the seat across from me, and my heart just felt like it was in my throat. I couldn't understand what was happening. We'd been married for 8 years. 8 years. We had built a good life together. She worked at my consulting firm as a project coordinator. We owned a beautiful house together, even though I was the one who paid for the mortgage. And her ultra-religious parents still thought she was their little perfect angel. Looking back, I should have seen the signs. The long nights at the office, the phone that was always face down on the table, the weird excuses she made for why she couldn't hang out with my friends. But I trusted her. And that, I would soon find out, was the biggest mistake of my life. The waiter came by, and I ordered a whiskey. Sarah ordered wine for her and Derek. A moment later, she looked me dead in the eyes and said, "We need to talk about our relationship." I just sat there, folded my hands on the table, and waited. I had a feeling this wasn't going to be good. "I've been thinking a lot about us," she said, "and I've realized I need more excitement in my life. Starting today, our marriage is going to be open. I want to explore my options." She said it with such a straight face, like she was talking about the weather. Derek shifted in his seat. I could tell this wasn't how she had explained it to him at all. Then she dropped the bombshell. "Derek and I have been seeing each other for 3 months. We're in love." The waiter came back with our drinks. I took a slow, deliberate sip of my whiskey, giving myself a moment to think. I didn't get angry, didn't raise my voice. I just stayed calm. This wasn't a moment for anger. It was a moment for a checkmate. "So, Derek," I said, my voice steady and low, "Sarah tell you she's married when you two started getting serious?" His face went bright red. "She said you guys were separated," he stammered, "and that you were getting the divorce papers soon." "Separated?" I laughed. It wasn't a happy sound. It was the sound of something cold and dangerous. I looked at Sarah, my eyes fixed on hers. "Funny," I said, "because I've been paying our mortgage, all our car payments, and even your salary at my company this entire time. Doesn't sound very separated to me." Sarah's smug smile finally faltered. "Mark, don't be dramatic." "Dramatic?" I set my glass down with a quiet clink that felt as loud as a gunshot in that silence. "You want dramatic?" I said, leaning in just a little. "Here's what's going to happen. Monday morning, HR is getting a full report about your relationship with our client. Company policy is crystal clear about conflicts of interest." Derek's eyes went wide. "Client?" He repeated. "Derek Patterson, Patterson Construction. You're the Morrison account, right? A 3-year contract worth about $200,000. I looked back at Sarah, my voice dropping to a near whisper. "You've been conducting a personal relationship with a client during company time, using company resources. That's grounds for immediate termination." Her face went pale. She knew I had her. She was good at lying, but she wasn't good at consequences. "As for the finances," I continued, "our joint account access gets reviewed by both parties for any large withdrawals. I'll be exercising that right starting tomorrow. The house payments, the car payments, the credit cards I've been covering. You'll need to figure out how to handle your half." Derek looked at Sarah like he was seeing her for the first time. "You said you were financially independent," he said, his voice laced with confusion. "I am," Sarah stammered, her voice shaking now. "Mark, you can't just—" I interrupted her. "Can't just what?" Report an employee for violating company policy? Document a conflict of interest? Follow our joint account procedures. I pulled out my phone and showed Derek some emails. By the way, Derek, I said, every meeting you've had with Sarah has been logged as client consultations. Dates, times, locations. Interesting how many of those consultations happened at hotels, isn't it? The color drained from Sarah's face completely. There's more, I continued. Your parents. You know, the ones who think you're their innocent little girl who goes to church every Sunday. I think they deserve to know why their daughter's marriage is ending. Sarah grabbed my arm, her nails digging in. Mark, please don't involve them. You involved them when you decided to destroy our marriage, I said, shaking her hand off. They deserve to know the truth. Derek stood up abruptly. This is insane. Sarah, you told me he was okay with this. You said you two had talked about opening the relationship. We did. Sarah lied, her voice cracking. Mark's just being vindictive. I laughed. This isn't vindictive, I said. This is consequences. You made a choice tonight. You chose him over our marriage. That's fine, but I'm not subsidizing your new lifestyle. Derek looked between us, grabbed his jacket, and shook his head. I can't do this. This whole situation is messed up. He looked at Sarah one last time. You lied to me about everything. About him, about your finances, about being separated. I'm not getting in the middle of this divorce mess. He walked out and was gone. Sarah stared after him, panic starting to set in. Derek, wait, she whispered, but he was gone. She turned back to me, her eyes desperate. Mark, we can work this out. I made a mistake. The only mistake you made, I said, finishing my whiskey, was thinking I'd just roll over and take it. I stood up. The check's under your name with the hostess. You can figure out how to pay it. Consider it practice for your new independent life. I walked out and drove home, our home for now, feeling lighter than I had in years. The very next morning, I was sitting with my lawyer, Jim Morrison. We'd gone to college together, and he specialized in divorce cases. I laid it all out for him over coffee. She brought her boyfriend to your anniversary dinner, Jim said, shaking his head. That's cold, even by divorce standards. It gets better, I said. She works for me. Conflict of interest with a major client. That's actually good for you, he said. A clear policy violation makes the termination clean. What about assets? The house is joint ownership, but I've been making all the payments. The joint checking has about $30,000. I want to protect my half and document everything for the divorce. Smart, he said. We'll file immediately and request temporary orders, joint account protection, asset preservation, the works. It's a clear-cut case. I also told him about her parents. Religious conservatives. They have no idea what she's been up to. You planning to tell them? That conversation needs to happen, I said. Sunday evening, I called Sarah's mom, Linda. She'd always been so warm and kind to me. Mark, how was your anniversary dinner? She asked. The question felt like a punch to the gut. That's actually why I'm calling, Linda. Sarah and I are getting divorced. There was a long silence on the other end. What? What happened? She finally said. She brought another man to our anniversary dinner and announced she wanted an open marriage. She's been having an affair for 3 months with one of our business clients. The sound Linda made was like she'd been physically hurt. No, that can't be right. Sarah wouldn't. I'm sorry, Linda. I wish I had better news. In the background, I could hear her husband, Robert, asking what was wrong. Linda explained through tears. Then Robert got on the phone. Mark, son, he said, his voice raw with shock. I'm so sorry. We had no idea. I know you didn't. You raised her better than this. Have you talked to a lawyer? He asked. Filing papers Monday. I wanted you to hear it from me first. Robert was quiet for a long time. We appreciate that, he finally said. This is a lot to process. I understand. Take your time. After I hung up, I felt a little bad about involving them, but they had to find out eventually. It was better for them to hear the truth from me. Monday morning, I got to the office early and called HR. Margaret, our HR director, was a no-nonsense woman who took policy violations seriously. "Mark, what can I do for you?" she asked. "I need to report a conflict of interest situation. Sarah's been having a personal relationship with Derek Patterson from Patterson Construction." Personal relationship? They've been having an affair for 3 months, meeting during business hours, using our client management system to coordinate personal meetings, I said, laying it all out. Margaret was quiet for a moment. "Do you have documentation?" "Email logs, meeting schedules, expense reports." Derek admitted to the relationship Saturday night. "It's all there." "This is serious," she said. "I'll need to conduct a formal investigation before any employment action." "I understand. How long does that typically take?" 72 hours for preliminary findings. We'll need to interview both parties and review all documentation. Sarah's out today. She said it was a personal day. I'll reach out to her tomorrow. In the meantime, I'll review the client files. Around noon, I got a call I never expected. "Derek Patterson." "Mark, this is Derek. Can we talk?" "Sure. What's on your mind?" He sounded exhausted. "I owe you an apology," he said. "Sarah lied to me about your situation. She told me you were separated and planning to divorce anyway. She lied about a lot of things." "Yeah, I'm figuring that out," I said. "She showed up at my office this morning demanding to know why I left. She started talking about how we were going to move in together and how I was going to help support her." Derek sounded genuinely panicked. I told her I wasn't ready for that level of commitment. We'd only been seeing each other for a few months. "What did she say to that?" I asked. "She got angry, said I'd made promises, started threatening to tell people I'd let her on." He paused. "Mark, I never promised to support her financially. That never came up." "I believe you. I'm ending the relationship," he said. "This whole situation is too complicated. I don't want any part of a divorce." "That's probably wise," I said. After he hung up, I actually felt a little sorry for him. Sarah had manipulated him just like she'd been manipulating me. Tuesday morning, Margaret called me into her office. She had a stack of papers on her desk. "I've completed the preliminary investigation," she said. "The evidence is clear. Sarah used company resources to facilitate a personal relationship with a client. That's a direct violation of our conflict of interest policy." "What's the next step?" I asked. "Formal disciplinary action. Given the severity and the client relationship, I'm recommending termination." "When does that happen?" "I'll call Sarah in today. She'll have a chance to respond to the findings, but the evidence is overwhelming." That afternoon, Sarah came storming into my office without knocking. "You bastard," she said, her eyes blazing. "HR called me in for some BS investigation." "It's not BS," I said calmly. "You violated company policy. This is retaliation for Saturday night," she said, her voice rising. "This is consequences for conducting an affair with a client using company time and resources," I said. She sat down uninvited. "I'll fight this." "Wrongful termination." "Go ahead," I said. "Margaret has documentation going back 3 months. Hotel receipts charged to your company card. Client meetings that never happened. Personal emails sent from your work account." Her confidence finally cracked. "Mark, we can work this out," she said. "No, we can't. You made your choice Saturday night." "What if I end things with Derek?" she asked, a plea in her voice. "You already did," I said. "He called yesterday. Doesn't want any part of this mess." Sarah's face went white. "He ended it?" "Apparently, you got a little too clingy," I said. "Started talking about him supporting you financially. He was a little spooked by that." She put her head in her hands. For the first time since Saturday, she looked genuinely upset. "I messed up," she said quietly. "Yeah, you did. Can we try counseling, work on the marriage?" "The marriage ended Saturday night. You killed it when you brought Derek to our anniversary dinner." She left without another word. An hour later, Margaret called to confirm the termination was complete. Wednesday brought new developments. Jim called with an update on the divorce filing. "Good news," he said. "The court granted our request for temporary orders. Joint accounts are protected. House payments continue as normal, and Sarah can't dispose of any major assets without court approval. What about her response? I asked. She has 30 days to file. Her lawyer called this morning fishing for a settlement discussion. Already losing her job spooked them. They know she can't afford a long court battle. What are they proposing? Standard 50-50 split. They want her to keep the house. She can't afford the mortgage payments without her salary, I pointed out. Exactly, Jim said. They'll have to come up with something more realistic. Thursday evening, Sarah's mom called. She sounded exhausted. Mark, we've been trying to reach Sarah, but she's not answering her phone. I don't know where she is. Linda, we're not talking. Her father and I have been praying about this situation, Linda said. We love Sarah, but what she did was wrong. I appreciate that. We want you to know we don't blame you, she said, her words hitting harder than I expected. You tried to save your marriage. Thank you. Will you keep us updated on the divorce? She asked. We want to make sure Sarah's okay, but we can't support what she did. Of course. Friday afternoon brought an unexpected visitor. A woman about Sarah's age approached my assistant's desk asking to see me. She introduced herself as Jessica, Sarah's cousin from Phoenix. I flew in this morning. Jessica explained once we were in my office. Sarah called me crying, asked if she could stay with me while she got back on her feet. What did you tell her? I asked. I said, no, but not for the reason you might think. Jessica sat down. I've been following the situation through family gossip. My aunt and uncle are devastated. I'm sorry about that. Don't be. They needed to know who Sarah really is. Jessica's expression hardened. This isn't the first time she's done this. Done what? I asked. Cheated, lied, manipulated people. Jessica pulled out her phone. Sarah posted on Facebook 3 days ago. Said you were abusive and controlling. That you isolated her from friends and family. She showed me the post. It had dozens of sympathetic comments. That's not true, I said. I know. I commented on the post asking for details. When she couldn't provide any, I started asking other family members questions. Jessica put her phone away. Turns out Sarah's been lying about a lot of things for years. Like money problems she blamed on you. Job issues she said were discrimination. Even some health scares that turned out to be completely fake. I leaned back in my chair, stunned. 8 years of marriage, and I'd never seen through any of it. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Because my aunt and uncle are good people who've been manipulated by their daughter, Jessica said. And because I wanted you to know that some of us see through her act. Jessica stood up. I also wanted to warn you. Sarah's desperate. She lost Derek, lost her job, and now she's losing family support. Desperate people do stupid things. What kind of stupid things? I asked. False accusations, harassment, stalking. Jessica handed me a business card. This is my attorney in Phoenix. If Sarah escalates things, call him. He's dealt with situations like this before. After Jessica left, I sat in my office thinking about everything she'd told me. The woman I'd been married to for 8 years was essentially a stranger. That weekend was quiet. No calls, no surprise visits, no drama. I started to think maybe Sarah had accepted reality and was planning to move on quietly. I was wrong. Monday morning, my assistant handed me a certified letter that had been delivered over the weekend. It was from a lawyer I'd never heard of, representing Sarah. The letter accused me of wrongful termination, sexual harassment, and emotional abuse. It demanded I reinstate her employment immediately and pay damages. I called Jim immediately. They're desperate, he said after I read him the letter. Sexual harassment? You're married to her. This is a Hail Mary. Her lawyer knows she doesn't have a case. This is pure intimidation. What do? I asked. I'll respond with our evidence, the affair documentation, the policy violations, the client relationship. Once they see what we have, they'll back off. And if they don't, then we countersue for defamation and extortion. Trust me, they don't want that fight. Tuesday brought more fallout. Margaret knocked on my office door, looking concerned. Mark, we have a problem, she said. Sarah's been calling our clients directly. What clients? Patterson Construction for starters. She told Derek's office manager that you were harassing her and trying to destroy their business relationship. What did they say? Derek's manager hung up on her, but she also called Morrison Industries and Blackstone Development. Same story with both of them. This was escalating beyond what I'd expected. What's our exposure? I asked. Minimal. All three clients called me directly to confirm the story wasn't true. But this could be considered interference with business relationships. Can we get a restraining order? I asked. Talk to your lawyer. This goes beyond employment issues now. I called Jim immediately. Within 2 hours, we had an emergency hearing scheduled for Thursday morning. Wednesday evening, Sarah's dad called. He sounded tired. Mark, we heard Sarah's been causing trouble at your work. Where did you hear that? I asked. She called Linda yesterday, screaming about how you were destroying her reputation and turning everyone against her. Robert paused. Son, Linda and I have made a decision. We can't enable this behavior anymore. We love Sarah, but she needs to face the consequences of her choices. I understand. We're not taking her calls anymore, he said. We told her if she wants to reconcile with the family, she needs to get professional help first. That must have been hard. Hardest thing we've ever done. But we can't watch her destroy more lives. Thursday morning's restraining order hearing was brief. Sarah didn't show up, but her lawyer argued the case was just a bitter divorce dispute. The judge wasn't buying it. Client interference and workplace harassment go beyond marital issues, he said. Restraining order granted. Sarah was now legally required to stay away from my workplace and stop contacting our clients. That afternoon, Jim called with news about the divorce. Sarah's lawyer wants to meet, he said. They're ready to settle. What changed their mind? I asked. The restraining order. Plus, her parents cut off financial support. She can't afford to drag this out. What are the terms? House gets sold. You keep 60% after the mortgage payoff. She keeps her personal accounts and car. You keep the business and investments. No alimony. What about her harassment claims? They'll withdraw everything in exchange for a clean divorce. When do we sign? Papers will be ready next week. The house sold within a month. Sarah got about $25,000 after all the fees and mortgage payoff. Not enough to start over comfortably, but more than her behavior deserved. I heard through mutual acquaintances that she'd moved back to Phoenix. Someone said she was working retail. Someone else said she was living with a new boyfriend. I didn't care enough to verify either story. The divorce was finalized on a Tuesday in December. I went to court alone. Sarah attended by phone from Arizona. Her lawyer filed the papers, and the judge signed off. 8 years of marriage ended with a signature and a file stamp. Walking out of the courthouse, I felt lighter than I had in months. I drove to my new apartment, opened a bottle of wine I'd been saving, and deleted Sarah's contact information from my phone. That evening, I got a friend request on Facebook from someone named Jennifer Walsh. Her profile picture showed a woman about my age with kind eyes and a genuine smile. Her message was simple. Jim Morrison suggested I reach out. Coffee sometime. I looked at her profile. Teacher. Divorced. No drama in sight. I sent back a simple response. Coffee sounds good. For the first time in years, I was looking forward to what came next.